Good evening, you guys. Hello there. My name is Vincent Julius, and I'm coming to you with another video. Yes, another one. And this video will be about, you guessed it, forgiveness. Okay, let's get straight into it. So I did a video maybe about a month ago about why it's important to forgive, right? And where it came from me. And middle school, I was bullied, I was picked on, girls were calling me ugly. One of the first experiences that I realized things were changing for me or turning for the worst. One girl, I was in 6th grade, and one girl came up to me, and at this school we had to wear uniforms, white collar t-shirt, navy blue jeans, right? Or pants, but it had to be navy blue. Anyways, and I didn't really catch this moment until she came up to me and said something. So there were these other girls who were saying stuff about me too, whatever the case may be. They were just saying their stuff. This girl from the same group, in a sense, she came up to me and said, "Ew, that's why your shirt is dirty. You wore that shirt 2 weeks ago," and turned away and walked away. Yeah, when you really give it a thought, you're like, wait, 2 weeks ago, how did you know I wore this shirt 2 weeks ago and it's dirty from 2 weeks ago? Right? Logic, right? When you really give it thought, like, huh? No. We all wear white collar t-shirts. How do you know if somebody's wearing a different or the same? You get what I'm saying? In my head, I was like, huh? I was confused, but then it kind of, what I absorbed really was, did she just make fun of me? Okay. And that was kind of like the beginning of like, huh? That was basically my time in middle school. I think that was one of the biggest areas where forgiveness had to really come into play in my life. And there was other instances and whatnot. I told you guys about the story of my past relationship, my ex, and I had to forgive her, but in reality, I had to forgive myself, right? Forgive myself for not understanding and knowing, but forgive others because they knew not what they were doing, and I had to have compassion. And that was the turning point in my life. And I think that a lot of us have a hard time really seeing the other person's perspective and justifying it. Now, I'm sure there are definite cases where that person was flat out wrong, okay? Period. I would not deny that. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have compassion, right? Compassion is almost like I pity you because you're having to do these things in order to receive this. And that's where I believe compassion can come in as one of many perspectives, but it has helped me see the other person's perspective so that way I don't retaliate to them or back to them in a way where, to them, that's like every day I eat that stuff up. I love when people retaliate because I get to do this now. I get to act this way now. You know what I mean? So I've learned to really switch it up. Where, as it comes to mind, where it has helped me out is watching kids, being around kids for so long in my life, from my little sister to my niece to kids that I've taught throughout the years, and watching their behavior from a third perspective. Kids don't know that they do things. They don't know. Now, some kids are aware at their level what they do when they're intentional or they're trying to be mischievous. But that's why there's foolishness bound in a child. And so they do things because they're born with it. Okay, it comes out in his own time. But it taught me how to have compassion for this child because they are ignorant of the things that they're doing. They have no idea. They don't know. They just don't know. We as adults kind of do the same thing too. We don't know that we're ignorant of something. And I'm putting myself out there too, like that we are ignorant of something that is that can give us the perspective to see what that person's going through, where we don't have to play the victim card. The victim card I don't like. Have I played it before? Yes. I don't like it. It's not a, well, they did this to me, so I feel this way, I gotta do that way, or I think this way about them, no, I don't care what you say. They did this, and so this is how I think. So they made you think this way. So they made you have this attitude towards people like this, right? So they made you, right? They made you. Interesting. I wonder how they made you do that. I wonder how, and I think that, God allowed those things to happen. No, I know that he does. He allowed those things to happen to give you the opportunity to learn from it and accept that it is what it is. But when you learn how to understand the perspective from more like a godly perspective versus the human perspective of things, where we only see things one way, but when you see things from God's perspective, it's more than just one way. There's a bigger, much more broader picture. I'll say things like, sometimes we see the frame of the picture, but not the actual, and we see a frame in a specific area of the picture, but not the whole picture, right? And that's all of us, that's all of us. And I'm still getting pieces together, my stuff, and there's things that comes in life in its own due time with the experiences and whatnot. But for me specifically, it's the forgiveness story. I want to keep driving this home because I feel that there are people out there who are holding on to bitterness, resentment, hate, wrath, all those things, and unforgiveness in their heart, and it's taken hold of them, and they don't know that forgiveness is a thing too. Like I don't think it's spoken on enough outside of church. Because I would think that most people think, when it comes to church, oh, love God, blessings, pray for you, forgive your neighbor and all that, Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah. But outside of that, outside of church, when you're at home, when you're at work, when you're out with your friends, you hearing them talk about things, and it's making you relate to things that they've gone through, and you're just kind of agreeing with them. It's, what is it? Misery loves company. You know what I mean? Like if you guys both miserable, having your life of miserable things, and you're just like agreeing with them because your life is miserable too. Like, you guys are just each other's company, and just saying, yeah, I agree with your woes. The person like, I know your woes. I see your woes, but they're not really helping you. Stay away from people like that, because they ain't trying to help you grow. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody's telling you something that it is good, and you fight back against because they're telling you the truth about where you are at in that whole thing, and you fight back, that is something for you, right? And I know what that feeling is like. So I'd like to say, just keep forgiving. Forgive those who have harmed you. Forgive them and let it go. Don't hold on to it. Imagine if I held on to that pain and that hurt of being bullied in middle school, what I would be like now. One, I probably wouldn't even be here, because I told you guys I almost committed suicide. I was right there, and that's when I think about it, it's like a woo moment. I'm glad I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Because I am who I am now because of that time. That time has made me who I am now, and it made me more softer around the edges in this area. It helped me be more compassionate towards others when they need compassion. It helped me understand perspectives a little better, because some people just have their perspectives for their reasons, and it is what it is. I ain't trying to change it. All I can do is really give you a perspective to help you see where you can change. I don't know where you need to change. I don't know where that may be at. You know where it's at. But all I can do is shed light through an experience or a reference point to help you shift and understand. I just heard this reference recently. It's like, ironically, You have a bully, right? The person is bullying you. I'm gonna go back to, grade school and whatnot. That person is bullying you, or that kid, and you want to do a peace treaty. Hey, here's my cool mug that keeps water cold. I want to give it to you. Please take it. And that bully's like, I don't want that. I still want to bully you. You're ugly. You're stupid. Right? I want to keep doing this every day because I love this. Now, you may be thinking, okay, I did all that I needed to do. I try to give a peace treaty. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be compassionate. I think that's misplaced compassion. I think a way to see compassion is to imagine that this is how I see perspective. Imagine that they're going through something outside of school, which may be at home, which is causing them to be a bully, which is causing them to be more aggressive, whether physically or verbally, but to understand that they're bringing something to the school because that's where they can release it, right? And you just happen to be the one, for whatever the reason, it doesn't matter, but you're the reason they got to come to you and do those things, right? Right. I'm just saying that's that. Now, what do you do once you find out that is the reason? What do you do? What would you do in that situation right now? How would you react to it? Would you take advantage of that and kind of exploit them? You become the bad guy? Would you try to find a way to talk with them? What would the questions be? I was just talking with my wife about this, about, I asked her a question about, what is the difference between what you read about postpartum versus being in it and that experience? And she kind of like, whew, it's like, I've read all these things. It tells you, hey, you can prep this stuff for yourself, some food, this and that. It just can help you with your mood and all these things. No, they didn't really help. Those are like practical things to kind of give you peace of mind of preparation of what you can have ready for you just to warm up and go in terms of the food preparation of things. But that's it. But now that I've heard and seen it twice, but a doula and a midwife, they will ask specific questions of compassion. They'll say, hey, it's been about 2 weeks now. Tell me let me say this slower. Tell me what it has been like for you when the baby's sleeping, your husband's gone, maybe your kid is in the room sleeping, whatever, but you're in the bed and now you're kind of like left by yourself. How are you feeling? What's going on with you? How are you doing? They're asking a compassionate question to a specific level where they're coming down to her level to hear her out, because some people will see the baby afterwards and be like, oh, the baby's beautiful. She has this of you, she has this of him, or he has this of her, all those different things are talking about the baby, but they're not coming down to the level to relate to the woman who just gave birth and who just the body went through a traumatic experience, right? They're coming to this place of understanding. So with the bullying thing, it's like, are you coming down to a level to understand them? No, what if the bully's like, I don't care, I want to keep doing this, and then try to distance yourself then, right? That's the most you can do. But can you still forgive as you distance yourself, to have compassion for them? Because now you're like, I pity you because you're acting this way and it's showing where your weakness truly is at versus what I thought was going on, what I believed to be going on. So you know what? I'm sorry, this sucks. This sucks for you right now because you're really going through it now. I see it now. I was a victim, but I'm actually not the victim. You're the victim. You're the victim in this area. And I want to point to somebody like, you're the victim. It's like they're the victim of what's going on over there because they're letting a determining factor contribute to what's happening to them. And now they're letting it seep out through them to other people, right? So this is why I think it's so important to forgive, because we hold on to those memories, those thoughts, those people who have done those things to us, and it becomes, it's like this, imagine what do you call those, I'm just gonna say it, you can see it in the comments, where you add the coal or the burning fuel stuff to the fire pit to keep it going, right? And you have a pile of it. You're letting that pile of bitterness, hatred, misery, resentment, all those things be your fuel. And when you talk, you speak of a place where, woe is me, I'm the victim, this, that, oh, they did this to me, nobody does that for me, nobody wants to do this for me, me. I think that's where it becomes very ill-like, very toxic-like for yourself. You're feeding yourself those things. And it's not that the pile ain't there, it's just you're putting the shovel into the pile and keeping the fuel going of that fire. When you have a whole nother pile of blessings that's right there, if you can see the perspective of it, you start throwing those blessings in there, those perspectives, those compassion, those forgiveness, that love, that harmony, that joy, those things, you start pouring that into you, man, there's a change, because then we begin to look at people differently. We begin to somewhat understand the human brain, the human mind, and the spiritual place of us, and we just begin to see these things. Our eyes become open. This is where I love what Myron Golden said, thank you, God, for giving me eyes to see. I can't make my eyes see. I can't make them see. They just see, but I can't make them. You know what I mean? I'm not in control of seeing past the phone and seeing what you guys are seeing. I don't have that ability, right? So it's having the eyes to see that there is something that's going on within them that is affecting their life, and being able to see that, maybe this ain't the time for you to, to get past it just yet. Maybe this is the time for you to, maybe I'm just somebody who's crossing the path of life with you, and I gave you something, some jewel of something, some seed, and that is hopefully going to help you later on down the road. Now, I can't make that seed grow. I can't. That's not my job. I can't make the grass turn green. I can't make the leaves go from green to brown in the fall time. I can't make them fall off. I can't, even though I could physically, you know what I mean? I don't have that control. I don't have that control of things. So God does the growing. He does the changing. I don't change them. I plant the seed through what He has given me to help them out. So that way I go on my lolly jolly life, and hopefully that's done something. And I'm sure I've said some things to people to help them see something, right? And sometimes, I overwater the plant, the sand. Sometimes I do. I have to learn to take a step back, see where that person's at, let them be, let them say their 2 cents, their piece. I'm like, got you. Now, am I going to agree? No, it's just I'm not going to always find a place to debate. You know what I mean? I don't want to have a debate back and forth, because now I'm losing them in that message. So giving them the opportunity to speak on what's really going on, and okay, and be a good listener, that's a practice in itself, right? But at the end of the day, whenever I hear anybody's story of anything, I always go back to that one thing, especially if it involves somebody, which usually it does. If it involves somebody in their life that has done something wrong to them, I will always ask, can you forgive them? Can you? Maybe they know not what they do. Maybe. What if we leaned in with maybe they don't know? What do you think of that perspective? How would you then react to them then? How? Okay, now that you can see that this could be a problem for them more than it is for you, you can probably reapproach this stance towards them, because you may be on the defense, but not knowing how to counter and redirect their flow, right? I learned that from martial arts, okay? Me, when I do martial arts, I'm a counter fighter. I counter back to you. I counter back. So as soon as you punch, I'm already thinking of how I can boom, boom, hit you back real quick before you get a chance to even hit me, right? That's just my style, right? But I've learned in another style called Kimpo. It's you redirect if a punch is coming at you, you redirect that flow of that punch away from you, and you keep it pushing. So that way they go on with that stuff, right? You're just redirecting. So I want to think of what I say to people is like the martial arts stance thing. I'm countering, I'm redirecting. Sometimes they get, ooh, you got me. Okay, I hear you. That won't happen again. I won't let that happen as much this time. You know what I'm saying? I'm continuously learning how to better myself in this area, in this field. So when I talk to people, I want to counter and redirect their energy to a different perspective, right? And sometimes they don't want to see that perspective. They don't. They be like, I don't like that perspective. It's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I ain't gonna just let you hit me. I ain't gonna just let you hit me with some BS story. I'm not gonna say this BS story because not all stories are BS. I say that to say that when we hear stories of people, sometimes they only speak of the BS and not the real. You know what I'm saying? Not the real stuff where they talk about themselves. They're too busy talking about somebody else that happened to them. That they're talking about somebody else in regards to what that person's done to them, and then they start saying, this is the reason why I'm this way. This is the reason why I think this way, right? And some people don't say that. Some people just have an attitude. They just have an attitude, right? Where did the attitude come from? Something made that happen where they react with the attitude in their life outside of work and school. It happened at home. Somebody might have said something to them or they seen something. And I'm talking about in the close area of family where they seen it, or they heard it, they've experienced it, and now they realize, or they probably come to think that, okay, maybe have an attitude I can quickly have a remark back to them and just be quick with it. But with an attitude, they understand, what's going on, why I'm mad. I'm mad because this and that. I saw this over there, so now I'm mad about it, right? That's what I mean, like, kind of the BS stuff. That's the BS. It's like, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, I don't think that's a good reason to behave that way, right? But I don't say that. I give a perspective like, well, I can see how that has made this become a thing for you where you feel this way, right? Basically, guys, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is find that place in your heart to have compassion for the other person or thing, whatever the case may be, so that you can find forgiveness in you, because all of us have forgiveness in us. It's in us. We have it. We have to choose it in order to receive that thing that is for us. There is a lesson there. I think if we don't accept the thing that has happened to us, that has affected us in that way, we won't get past that specific lesson that God placed for us in that time. And what you don't embrace, or no, what you resist will persist, and what you embrace, there will be grace, right? I leaned in to me being bullied, right? I embraced it. I took it all in, and it felt scary at first because I didn't know what was going to happen. But when I kind of had a perspective on what it might be like, I leaned into it, and my eyes were open. Like, man, there's so much more to what's going on than what I believe it to be. I realized that it was my perspective that was blinding me from what was really going on in the whole big picture of things, right? But not as a kid, I wouldn't have seen that, but as an adult, I understood, because life happened to me. I had to experience life to reflect upon all the things that has happened since the time of me being bullied to where I'm at now, to where I'm like, yeah, I can't have that stuff in my heart. Let me be sure to say I'm sorry. Do I say sorry first all the time? No. I try to be quick with it. My fault. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Because I don't want to have that in me, because I may be affecting that person by something that I've done. And so I'd rather voice my opinion and hear what they say, so that way they can say, yeah, you did this. My bad. Sorry, that was just with this thought in mind. That was not my intention. I'm sorry, So Yeah, guys, please, 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 like, hear me when I say this. I think I'm going to be talking about forgiveness for some time and these other branches of it, but forgiveness, I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that I speak on. Forgiveness, yo. Just forgive, let it go. I know it may feel hard. You probably don't want to change. You want to be who you are because you like who you are. Too bad you don't know what you'll be like then. I guess if you don't know what your life will be like then, you already know what you're gonna be like to the day you die, right? You are who you are. Enjoy that. I hope it goes well for you. I hope where you're at right now on all levels, it's been working for you. I hope. For those who are wanting to forgive and not know how, I say, one, ask God to reveal to you how to forgive. Two, embrace it. Three, let it go. I think that's the three things I would say about it. Pray to God about it, embrace it, and then let it go. Once you let it go, I'm sure you're going to start learning so much more about yourself and others, where you're going to be a lot more gentle with them, with the other people, and whomever you come in contact with, whether it's directed at you or indirected to somebody else. I feel like you're going to learn so much, and I'm still learning, and I've learned when I share stories like this, sometimes I can't help but to hear things that people are saying. I'm already like, I hear what you're saying, but it's my discernment. It's my discernment. My discernment has helped me. And I think having forgiveness and compassion has also developed that trait of discernment, even more so with people and what they are saying. And I ain't saying that I have perfect discernment. I'm saying it has helped me and it has developed me. And discernment has always been there with me, but all it has done is shed light on how to discern people at where they're at. And usually the people I have heard these stories from about somebody who has done something to them, usually, not all people, but usually they're playing that victim card. They're saying the woe is me. Some people aren't even there. They're like, I'll let that go. I'm good. That's perfect. That's good to hear, because I believe when they let it go, there's something in them shift where they're like, you know what? I ain't got time to worry about these things. I got to worry about this now, right? And that's where the blessings start flowing through, because, when you shift that perspective on the things that you really see that you should really look at and be grateful for, your eyes are going to start being open, right? You didn't make them become open. God gave you the opportunity for them to be open. But how He did that was He placed that thing to happen to you in your life intentionally, so that way eventually you can get that perspective. Your eyes can be open. You can have compassion for some people. You can have more forgiveness. And I think by you doing more of those things, you will have more love to give. Way more love. Way more love. So, yeah. Forgive you guys. Let them go. Think about all the things that has happened to you in your life. Maybe something happened recently, like last night, last week, last month, last year, whatever, or something that has happened years ago. And it's been sitting there in the back of your mind, and it's hard to talk about with people. I really would say lean into it. If it's really that uncomfortable for you, I would say, one, pray about it. Pray to ask God to help you through it, right? And then two, seek some help. If you feel like a therapist is going to help you, then they'll go to a therapist, but be sure that they have a sound mind on what they're going to get back to you. That's what I would say. Make sure that, pray for God, pray to God to help guide you to a counselor or a therapist that can help you. You're being to be led by the Spirit, so that way you're being led to something good. So trust that process. Have love to give, have more compassion. Please, I'm begging you to forgive those who has harmed you, or who has said something about you or to you, or done something to you. I know there's so many different levels of ways that people have done something, or can do things. I'm talking about from like racism, rape, bullying, abuse, neglect, hate speech, gossip, slandering, betrayal, lying. I would say forgive them. Forgive them. Let it go. Because you're being eaten up by it. You're behaving the way you are because of that. Whether you know it or not, you are. I'm behaving the way that I am because of what has happened to me in my past. But I've also embraced it, and grace came to me, and compassion came to me. Discernment was revealed to me, and love started to flow through me more, and I was able to do things in a different manner with a different energy, right? So I embraced all those things. I didn't try to deny it. I can talk about it now. Almost committed suicide, being bullied, having these thoughts about myself as a kid, not knowing what it is, let me share this one story. During the time of me being bullied and where I'm at now, even though I don't care about these things, I really don't. The girls, I didn't say this in my last video, but the girls at that time used to call me ugly, and that was hurtful already. You being a young boy and you start becoming interested in girls, and these girls are saying, oh, he ugly, that hurts, you know what I'm saying? That's some hurtful stuff as a kid. You're like, what? You're learning these things about yourself, and these girls are calling you ugly. It does something to the mind there, okay? Anyways, I remember telling my mom, or asking her, Mom, why is it that these older women call me handsome and cute and all that, but the girls my age call me ugly? And my mom, I wouldn't say like most moms, but my mom, she grabbed my face like this, came down, gave me a kiss, mwah. She said, it's because they don't see it yet. I was like, what? See what? What are you talking about? I didn't understand that, but that hit me years later. So she planted a seed, and then years later, when I grew up, girls would look at me more like, oh shoot, he is fine. That dark chocolate, don't call me dark chocolate. That sugar brown, don't call me sugar brown. Man, he looked good. He looked like a Marion. He looked like Nick Cannon. He looked like Carmelo Anthony. This is when I had my braids and everything. Oh my goodness, he this and that. Look at his lips. I'm just saying, but that happened to me, right? Did I embrace that? Of course I did. Let me say that, of course I did. But I understood something on top of that, was we grow up not seeing things until later because we have to experience some things first. So this is why I say forgive, because I've experienced that at a level that made the difference in my life, and that I know and I truly believe that it will make a difference in your life. So that being said, you guys, hope you guys have a wonderful night. I'm gonna go to bed. Deuces.